Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lori Warda. My role here at AVEVA is Product Director for AI, which means I'm mostly right now looking at how we're integrating AI into our products. I came to AVEVA through an acquisition and have 30 years of service here at AI, at AVEVA, excuse me, and my whole career has been focused on industrial software. Today I'm really excited to be presenting to you some updates around our industrial AI assistant. But first, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Connect platform and how we're fitting into the Connect platform. Connect is our open agnostic industrial intelligence platform meant to bring together all of your data across the whole life cycle into a secure, governed environment. By bringing all of this data together, we're giving you a trusted single source of truth. And then on top of that, we can build actionable insights by adding AI analytic tools. We have a great unified experience where we have many different ways to build the visualizations tailored to each user. So whether it's a single screen that everybody looks at or the ability to do ad hoc analysis depending on what your day-to-day job is. And the next level of it is the ability to our customers and partners to build on top of it. So it's we have an ecosystem that we're really looking forward to having everybody build on top of. Our industrial AI assistant was introduced about 2 years ago, and you probably saw some of it on the main stage this morning with Caspar and Rob. It's really the way we're bringing generative AI into Connect visualization. We're leveraging natural language chat to access your information without needing to know your stream names or your asset names. The ability to quickly find data, summarize it, and we've added query and analytic tools that I'll share. The way it allows the user to access it makes it very simple and really reduces the amount of training needed to get onto the system. I'd also like to point out that we're using a large language model, a pre-trained model. Right now that's GPT 4.2. We're always investigating and evaluating what the best model for the job is to get that right balance of performance, cost, scalability. But right now we're using GPT, and we do not train it with your data. This is a pre-trained model that's pre-existing. Some example questions that you can ask are things like, what was the bearing and nacelle temperature for my wind turbine? Do I have a dashboard on utilization? Do I have a trend for my certain wind turbine? So all of these are just very simple questions that you can ask, and it will give you a nice summarized answer with links to look at that data in more detail. So let's take a look at the life cycle of a request. So we start on the top left there where our user asks the question, what is the turbine status at site 3? The question is passed by the industrial AI assistant to the large language model to process it for intent. So that it looks at it and it figures out that we're looking for a certain asset, we're looking for a status type of a stream. Then we leverage our semantic search capability. So in addition to keyword search, we have semantic search, which can use context and meaning to find the right piece of information. Once we figure out what information we need to request by using search, the orchestrator will retrieve it from the Connect data sources. So any of the information that's in Connect that's available can be retrieved and accessed through the system. But it also requires, we leverage your Connect user permissions. So if a user doesn't have explicit access to a certain piece of information, it won't be used. Once we've gathered all of that raw data up, we're going to package it up and send it over to the large language model for formatting, and we get a nice, simplified, summarized response to share. And then we also add things like citations to make sure that we can express to the user where that information came from, what data points, what assets were used. So on the left, you kind of see an example of a nicely summarized response that includes links and includes an inline chart. Some of the things we've learned over the last couple of years of working on this is really the importance of data. And I think that was mentioned this morning in the keynote as well. We need to have the right data, and it needs to be formatted well. So right now, the information that's available to be accessed by the industrial AI assistant includes the Connect data services, stream data, events from the manufacturing execution system, and assets. And then Connect visualization, we can access saved visualizations, we can access the help documentation. So if you want to learn how to create a dashboard or how to do a certain task, you can just ask it rather than searching through the help. And then we also have AVEVA asset information management data, including things like tags, 3D models, documents, activities, facilities. How do you know if the industrial AI assistant can answer your question? First of all, the most important thing is that information in Connect? We are not going out to the internet to get general information. We're getting, all of our answers have to be founded in data that's in Connect. If you know that that information should be available, think about how an average person might find that information. Would they be able to scan the list of points and figure out what the right assets are, what the right streams are to answer your question? Think about whether a new joiner to your company or an intern without a lot of experience could figure it out. And if somebody like that can't figure it out by reading through the names, then the industrial AI system probably won't be able to either. And the same thing goes for documents. Are they named well? Do they have linkages to the right tags and the right assets? And then additionally, in addition to thinking about it in terms of keywords, you can think about it in terms of semantic search. Do you have good descriptive text used in there so that they can find using context? If it does require some sort of significant tribal knowledge or complex inferences, such as, specialized codes, a lot of systems that were created in the, 20, 30 years ago, you were really limited in the number of characters you were able to use in your naming. And so you might have, codes where every letter means a certain abbreviation, and it's really hard for the AI to figure that out. And now with Connect, you can have really long descriptions and really long names. So take advantage of that and make it easier for the AI to find it. We learned over the last years, we've done some experiments with customers, and if you were going to look at how to improve your naming and your structures of your data to make it more AI ready, these would be the 4 things that I would suggest you focus on, starting with asset names. Again, make sure they're descriptive and that they have the full detail of what the asset is. They should also have types. So, if you're looking for pumps or compressors, if you give your asset a specific type, it'll make it a lot easier to find. And stream descriptions, if you put the full description, including what asset it is, what measurement it is, all of the information, it'll be way easier for the AI. And then last but not least, super important to include units of measure on all of your stream data to make it more AI ready. Next, I'd like to talk about a couple of the new features that have been released within the last year. The first one is our improved integration with the AIM data. We've added more types of information that can be accessed using the AI assistant, including activities, 3D models, facilities, and events. Any of the information that's accessible in the AIM dashboard using the faceted search is now available in the AI assistant. And we've also improved the way we're interacting with the AIM data, and we're giving you a better experience. We've improved the way we're searching. Start with a little example here. We're going to go into our Connect visualization, open up our AI assistant. And we're going to start by asking a question, noting that I've been told that there's something going on and I need to look at my pump today, and asking if there's any events that have occurred. And so the LLM processes that request and sends the request over to the AIM data to get the proper information. And then we get a nice formatted result. Easy to read, clean format with nice links. We can click on a link and open up, and I can see this inspection information, and I can scroll through it and read through all of the details. And then next, once I'm done looking at it, I can follow up and ask if there's any open cases for this same pump. And so again, it'll format the request to AIM based on the LLM processing the intents. And we're going to get the response back in a nice, simple, easy to read sentence. We'll have a link on it. We can open up the cases and get that information and try to investigate what's going on and how do I take this to the next level. The next new feature I'd like to highlight is what we're calling query and analytics. And in our first versions of the AI assistant, it was search-based, which means that we would find the best matches to your question. So if you ask something about what's going on with my pumps, we would find the top 10 matches to your pump and look at them. But we really found that a lot of our customers were asking to be able to get that full list. And so we've added this query feature, which will retrieve the full list of the asset that you asked for, whether it's a compressor or a pump, And then you can filter the results by data values. You can ask for calculations on how long it's been over a limit, or add up a couple of streams. And so I'm going to show an example of that. So first, we're just starting with a basic question. We're just going to look at the bearing temperature for my pump. And so I'm requesting that data. I get it from Connect. I get some of my summary information, mins, maxes, averages. I can see the chart of the trend of it in line. And next I'm going to follow up, and I'm going to ask, how many times was this temperature over the 65-degree limit? And so now we're processing this, and it's realizing that I need to calculate something. So it's going to come back with a proposed calculation for me, and it's going to let me know how it thinks it's going to calculate that answer. And the user can either confirm it to continue or give it additional instructions if there's an adjustment needed, if it doesn't look quite right. So I've gone ahead in there and confirmed it, and so now it's going back and it's retrieving all of the appropriate data to generate that calculation for me. And now I can either view it in line in the screen. I can click on Show Stream Data, and it's going to show me all of the readings that matched that request. And I can also download it to an Excel file. So if you want to do some additional analysis, if you want to, sort it or build a pivot table or a chart, however you want to interact with the data, you can take that data and work with it in Excel. So there's a lot of possibilities here of how you can create different kinds of equations and calculations. And this is meant to be kind of an ad hoc on the fly operation, not something that's an ongoing everyday kind of calculation, but really to assist in that troubleshooting, problem solving kind of space. And now we're going to come back here and just ask another question about how did this maybe impact my efficiency over the last few days. And so we can go out and get just stream data. We're looking at the summary information, and then we have that nice inline chart. There's also a link if you wanted to open up that chart in the full screen to the left. And kind of the last part of putting this investigation all together is the ability to look at documents and generate visualizations using natural language. So in this demo, we're going to start by looking for a maintenance manual about bearings, and it will search for the AIM content to find documents that match the description. We find it not only looks at the document and finds the document to link to, but it gave me a summary of what the question I asked. So it gives you a summary of the content within the document. Next, I want to say, hey, I'm going to send somebody out on site. Can I look at the general arrangement drawing? So I can kind of assess, the situation there. And so I find the drawing. I'm able to open it up right here in the screen. I can zoom in, zoom out. I could even do a markup if there was something that I wanted to adjust on the drawing. So you get that full capability of the visualization of those drawings. Another really nice feature that's kind of built into using large language models is language support. So we've got many customers that have tried many different languages, and you can build, if you ask a question in a language, it'll come back in the same language. And then also here in the video, we're showing an example of how to generate a dashboard using natural language. So the request was, can you show me the temperatures for my pump, J9002A, and we got two different charts on there. One, because we had some of the units are in Fahrenheit and some are in Celsius, so we got a chart for each of the units of measure on this chart. And so once the user creates that, they can continue to edit it using natural language, or they could use the regular tools to tweak it if they want to change the title or change a color or something like that. So it's modifiable, and then it could also be saved for future use. So I've talked a little bit about what we've got available, what's been recently released, and then next I'd like to talk a little bit about where we're going and what some of our next capabilities will be. One of the big things, and this was also mentioned in the keynote this morning, is as we build out this new Connect Knowledge Graph digital twin with our industrial ontology, that's going to be a really great basis for asking questions of AI and building out more AI kind of capabilities. So the new knowledge graph, the new digital twin, will be something that'll be coming later this year. We'll also be expanding to some new Connect data types. We'll be having event frames, alarms, production management events, and those event data will really help add context to your real-time data. So I think that'll be a really powerful addition to the system. And then this last part I'd like to highlight is that we're going to be focusing on interoperability. We've had a lot of customers requesting, hey, I've already got my own chat tool, but I'd like to see the Connect data in my own chat tool. And so we'll be making that accessible via MCP. So if you've got your own company chat and you'd like to get some Connect information in there, you'll be able to do that. And then we'll also be able to access external data. So maybe you've built your own agent or you've got some other data source that you would like to access in context with your Connect data. You'll be able to do that as well. And this just shows a little bit of a highlight of the architecture and how that's going to look. The stuff in yellow and black is what's existing today, and the blue items showing that interoperability with plugins, either A2A or MCP, and external agents is in the blue. And that concludes my content for today. I've got, if you want to learn more about what we're doing at AVEVA with AI, I'd encourage you to step out over there to the Connect booths. We've got one called Curate, Investigate, and Troubleshoot with Generative and Agentic AI. And we also have a hands-on Connect booth if you want to experiment and try some things. We've also got some voice of customer sessions. We have 5 sessions. 3 of them are today. We've got 3:15, 4:15, and 5:15, and Wednesday 1:45 and 2:45. With anybody who's a Pi system customer or an AVEVA Ops Control customer who would like to come and share your thoughts and give us ideas on what is important to you, we'd really like to use that to develop our roadmap going forward. And we'll also be doing more detailed presentation on the AVEVA AI overall, our roadmap and what's coming next on Thursday morning at 10:30. It says 10:15 here, but it's 10:30. Thanks very much for your time. And are there any questions? Daniel can bring the microphone around. Thank you.